Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We are here with Vanderbilt women's basketball head coach Shea Ralph. We will we'll take an opening statement, open up the floor for questions. First, we're going to go ahead and start with Coach Ralph, just opening statements after today's result.
Okay. Thank you. I love seeing all these people in here supporting women's basketball. This is awesome. Thank you for being here. The number one thing I want to say is that I really love the atmosphere here at Texas. I think Vic has done an incredible job. It was an awesome game to play in, and his team is tough, so credit to them. Secondly, I thought we battled for large portions of the game, and the thing that for me became apparent is that we just got a little exposed offensively. Felt like we stopped moving the way they were playing defensively, aggressive, getting out into passing lanes. Their pressure gave us some problems. It was more us losing our composure and poise than anything else. So there were big moments where I felt like we were just starting to close the gap, and then bam, 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 it's back into mid-double digits as a result of some turnovers, a little bit too much one-on-one, some missed opportunities where I felt like in transition we made poor decisions or we didn't get what we were looking for in terms of a great shot. Thought, again, defensively, for the most part, we played pretty tough, but then there were moments where we would have miscommunication, lack of poise and composure, and we would give up a wide open shot to Madison Booker, a wide open three, or we would foul. So there's a lot that we can learn from today. I don't think the score indicates the kind of game that we played. So I am proud of my team in that way, but I'm not a moral victory coach. And there was some exposure in terms of the things we need to improve on that I think will really help us over the next week that we have.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the floor for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll go ahead and start right here in the middle in the jacket.
Coach, there was, I think, 46 fouls, 52 free throws. It's more like a rugby match.
Yeah.
The physicality of the game, did that take away from the composure, or was it just that Texas had a bunch of players that were stepping up to the game? What was that factor?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a bunch of different factors. I think that kind of game, how many fouls did you say, 46? It's hard to know sometimes what a foul is and what it isn't in that kind of game. And when you play that style, and this isn't just Texas, this is in the SEC. I think there's probably a foul on every possession. But that puts the referees under pressure. Are they going to call it on every possession or not? So I try really hard not to get caught up in that because I can't control it, and neither can my players. All we can learn or do better is play through it. So that's where I felt like we lost our composure. We wanted more foul calls. We would stop cutting and moving, which prevented us from getting foul calls because now we're not doing anything. And now, the other four players on our team are stuck, or the guy with the ball is stuck because we're not moving to the ball to relieve pressure. We talked about that in almost every huddle. That's just playing basketball. That's not me setting up plays for them. And I think right now that's something our team really needs to get better at. We work on it every day, and we're going to continue to do so. Just that repetition, putting them under pressure, and making sure that we continue to move when it gets really hard, and that we get the ball to our players even when our players that need to have the ball, even when they're trying to keep it out of their hands, right? That's a team effort thing. That's not a one-on-one thing. So I feel like when it gets really hard for us, to answer your question, kind of to summarize it, offensively, we tend to play more one-on-one just because we're trying to compete and get points. We have to take a deep breath and play together as a team so that we can get great shots.
All right, here in the front.
Shea, it seemed like your two leading scorers, they got theirs tonight. I'm kind of wondering, what did you think about the job Texas did or that y'all didn't do with the rest of the team as far as other players contributing offensively?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, they did a great job defensively. I look more at what could we do different. I'd like to see us play with more certainty. So when it's harder for Camille and Michaela, and they did get theirs, but it was hard. When it's harder for them to get the ball, then we have to know what the other guys are great at and set them up for that. I think we also have to move a little bit more. So we spent a lot of time trying to get open today where I felt like we could have just back cut, flash back to the ball, changed sides of the floor a little bit more, and it probably would have opened up for us. So I'm not sure that I would say offensively that I would look and say, hey, well, you got to shoot the ball more. I just thought we needed to get more open shots. And I trust the kids on my team to do that. But in order to do that, we just have to move the ball and move the ball from side to side. We felt like we struggled with that today.
Right here.
Coach, Michaela Blakes and Jordan Lee came in the same recruiting class. They've both had very good years, but in different ways. How would you compare their roles?
Yeah, I think they are really both really good players. I think they're totally different in terms of the roles they play on each of our teams. They could probably speak to that better than I can. Jordan's a great player, but she, I think she comes off the bench, right? Michaela does not. Michaela is one of our best players and is responsible for a lot. And I think Jordan plays a really great role on her team. That's probably the biggest difference that I see in both of them.
Back up front right here.
Shea, were you surprised at all by Texas's ability to knock down some three-pointers tonight?
Yeah, what do they average, 3? Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not even trying to be funny, but if they left me that wide open, I could probably hit a 3. At this point, I think we did want to do a good job in the paint, but the plan was to be able to do that and be there on the catch, and certainly not to leave their best three-point shooters as wide open as they were. So I wasn't surprised when they were wide open that they made them. We just gave them too much space.
They're in the back. Yep.
Sorry. Coach, so they're going to have their own film and their own scouting, but if Dawn Staley calls you for the next game coming up, what do you say to her to watch out for this?
No.
What advice would you give her, I guess?
I don't need to give her any advice. I think she's got it figured out. I might need some. No. I think most of us that coach in the SEC understand each other's strengths and weaknesses pretty well. I mean, you don't get to this level in coaching or playing without having earned your stripes, And most of what I would say in terms of when you show up to play any team in our league, especially a team like Texas or South Carolina, or name any of the other teams ranked in the top 25 right now, any team on our schedule, you just got to show up ready to be you, to play to your identity, to stay composed, to play with confidence, to play together, and to play hard. So you got to be a warrior. You got to come in here ready for battle. And that's every SEC game. That's not just Texas. So that just is. That's what I love about this league. And if you don't show up that way, it's going to be a long night for you. And it can't just be one or two of your guys either. It's got to be everybody. So that's the thing that I was impressed with today with Texas. I thought that's how they played. They played ready for battle. They came ready to rip our hearts right out of our chests. And that's impressive. And they're not alone in terms of playing in the SEC. So I'm not sure if it's more preparing for other people other than like preparing yourself for battle.
All right, we'll go ahead and jump over to the Zoom. We will start with Elena Morris. If you have any questions on the Zoom, please raise your hand. Go ahead, Elena.
Yeah, the offensive struggles that you mentioned, do you feel like those are the same ones that carried over from the Ole Miss game? And then how important is it for you guys to have Sunday off and just kind of reevaluate things before Thursday?
Yeah, I think the things that are popping us up right now for us consistently are some of the things that we struggle the most with. We'll continue to work on it. That's how you do it. And yes, I think this bye week, just like the last one, is coming at a great time.
All right. Aria Gearson, Tennessee, go ahead.
Yeah, Shea, what do you think was the difference between kind of Camille's first half and then her second half when she kind of came alive?
Probably a better question for her. I think from what I saw, it was a more intentional effort on both ends of the floor. I thought she moved a little better without the ball, especially in the third quarter. And I thought she was communicating better on defense and was doing a better job of staying between her player and the basket. So I say that like I'm trying to find specific things tactically, but I never think that a player changes from the first half to the second half because of something that they do differently. I just think it's a different approach. I felt like she came to the second half with a different approach. She was more ready to play. She played a little bit harder, and she played a little bit more together with her team.
Ari, if you have another question, the floor's still yours.
But yeah, I just wanted to ask, with Tennessee and UConn playing tonight, is playing UConn something you would ever be interested in doing in the future?
Of course, I want to play all the great teams. That's how you got to win championships, right? I want to play them all. So, yes, I would love to.
All right. We're going to go final question here. Brandon Bigsby, Vandy 24/7. Go ahead, Brandon.
Coach, I know you mentioned the Texans had a few open looks, but, shooting as efficiently as they did and scoring at the rate they did, how hard is that to really defend when a team just seems to be shooting lights out no matter how much you're challenging them?
I mean, defense should be challenging either way. How hard is it? It's not fun, when shots go in and in, over and over and over, when they get open looks that they knock them in. But I don't think you can expect them to not when they're open. I think the thing that we need to work on and continue to work on is what I tell you guys every single time we have media availability. We got to hang our hat on being tough defensively. So that can't ebb and flow with whether or not they make shots. It can't be the case, because we're going to come up against a lot of teams that can make a bunch of shots. So if they make a bunch of shots in the first quarter and we drop our heads for the second quarter, well, we may as well get on the plane then. What's the point? It's going to be hard. So we have to learn to embrace hard a little better, so that we make the first play, then the second play, the third play, the fourth play, get the rebound and go the other end. Or that we get a trap and turnover instead of a trap and foul. And we just, and some of that's late rotations due to fatigue. Some of that's miscommunication. Some of that's just a lack of awareness. I don't think it's a technical thing. I don't, because I've seen us play much better defense against teams that have done the same things. So we just have to get back to who we are and be that when it's hard. That's it. Got to do it when it's hard, because it's not going to get any easier from here on out.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody, for attending this press conference.
Thank you, guys.